Welcome to the Dog Classroom.
The Dog Classroom podcast. I am your co-host, Anne-Marie.
And I'm your co-host, Amelia.
Like and subscribe
on Spotify and YouTube in video format. And now into the episode.
Here we go. All right. Welcome back, everybody. And what we're going to do for today's podcast is we are going to talk about dog sports.
All the sports.
All the sports. So we're going to move a little bit. I know we've talked a bunch about, training and behavior. So I think for this and reason why, we want to cover it is there's just so much more to just, sits, downs, healing that you can do with your dog. And I think between us and staff, we've experienced quite a few of these.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are a little bit scared off of dog sports. In particular, because it looks like it's something really challenging to do.
Right? Or it's hard.
It is. But I think that's also part of the fun, right? I think of it as like almost like a test. Like you get to compete against yourself a lot of the time.
I was going to say, it depends if you like doing tests or not.
And how competitive you are.
Yeah.
Because some sports are more competitive than others.
Yeah, definitely.
So why don't we jump in? The first one we're going to talk about is competitive obedience.
Right. And I think I'm going to start with that one. Just because when I first started taking classes, and 20 some odd years ago, we're going to leave it at that. Mm-hmm. And when at this training facility, they were pushing you to do trial obedience. So that basically means you would go into the ring and you would do different behaviors. So you would do a sit, had to be straight, a down, like at a distance. You did stays, like you had to be able to walk away and have them sit stay for a period of time. You had to heel around different objects. As you went up the levels, some of it was a bit of retrieve or scent work, and involved dumbbells.
Yeah.
Like you had to go pick the dumbbell. The tricky thing about it is you had to have a purebred dog, and they had to be intact.
Okay.
Yeah, so that left out...
That just means not spayed or neutered.
Right, sorry. So that left out a lot of people, like a lot of people. So that's going to lead me into rally.
Right.
Right? Because the joke is it's called fun obedience.
Yeah.
Right? So then dogs in rally were able to, you could have a mixed dog. They can be spayed or neutered. But why don't you describe like what you actually do in rally?
So for rally, this is actually something that I did a little, not competitively, but I did a little bit of it with Stark back in the day. It's a series of signs. So there's literally a paper sign, and you go to each sign, and it's a course. So
yeah, like you follow it in a U or like a circle.
Yeah, and it'll tell you where to go. So it might say like heel forward 3 steps with the dog on your left or whatever.
Yeah.
So you heel toward the next sign, and then the next sign says, do an about turn, and then you end up turning, and then you end up at the next sign, and then, it'll tell you the different things to do at each sign. I guess the fun part of it was it wasn't the same exact, routine. You could see any number of behaviors because it was always different depending on the sign.
So you had to know how or be able to do like 20 some odd different signs, I think, a novice, right? So you had to be able to complete those in a row. Was it timed? Can't remember.
I don't know.
I think it was. I think the majority of them are timed, right? So I just thought of one leading from rally into freestyle, where what freestyle started to do was they had more trick cards.
Yeah. So
and it was the same idea, right?
There's musical freestyle and there's rally freestyle. So start with, rally freestyle is, it's a newer sport, and it involves doing signs and there's music playing. So that's the musical freestyle element of it.
Okay.
And there's
also... the signs were also, if I remember.
The signs involve tricks.
Tricks, yeah.
So there's free choice signs where you get to do whatever you want at that sign. And then there's also very specific tricks. So it's still got that obedience sort of feel to it where it would go, okay, you're going to turn counterclockwise and your dog is going to circle around you clockwise.
Right.
And, you're going to do an about turn, but your dog's going to end up on the right. And so they have all those different sort of, I guess, more complicated or more fun seeming signs than
I think it's about adding more than just like sits down, stays, and healing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're adding a little bit more to it. Whereas musical freestyle there's no signs at all.
No.
And that's one that I did compete a little bit with Stark online.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah.
I don't know if I knew that.
I did.
Where is this footage?
Somewhere on there. It was through MDSA, Musical Dog Sport Association.
Okay.
And you had to record yourself, and there was like certain, like you put the pylons and you had to be able to see everything and whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can have food on you. You have to use the video or the audio that's on that video, so you can't like dub the music over and all that stuff. There was some specific rules to it. But basically, you make a routine that's 1 minute, I think was the novice level. And you pick 1 minute of a song, and you keep the dog moving with you. And you're doing healing to music at like on the beat. You're doing leg weaves. You're doing spins. You're doing crawls. You're doing bows. Like whatever you want. It's freestyle, but it's a routine that you've made.
Yeah, so you have to do, well, you practice. That's the thing. It's not just on the spot.
Yeah.
Right, that you're following signs.
Which is weird that it's called freestyle, because that would be freestyle, but it's not freestyle.
I guess freestyle is the thing that you're not following maybe the signs, that you're actually able to make up your own course. I've played a little bit with that, and I wanted to, so we have a tricks class right now that I think we're going to keep up because they're getting there. But the tricks are more than just a spin, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? So in meshing the musical freestyle with the tricks, it's about having the tricks flow into one another. So it's to music, so it's flowing. It's not just like boom, trick, 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 right?
Yeah.
So when I was doing it a little bit, and I did offer it last winter, is I think the most challenge was the beat.
Yeah.
Like keeping to the beat. Like I could do all the tricks in a row, but I was in the own beat in my head, I think. But it's also about picking the music.
Yeah. So when I did freestyle with Stark, you could submit, and people would give you like they would count your dog's footfalls and go, this is the beat of your dog's footfalls. Like here's a bunch of music that will match that for you. And so it was a Yahoo group. This is how long ago I did this. It was a Yahoo group, and you would upload your video, and they would give you sort of suggestions for it. So that's, I think, how I ended up picking whatever.
Okay, because I have videotaped some of the dogs doing the performance healing. The same thing as to do the beat.
Yeah, and you just count when their feet fall, and you match it that way. So that was fun. I like doing that. It's just not as popular.
No, and I actually, just to interlude, not that we want to go off topic, but due to COVID, a lot more of these different sporting events, the organizations have turned to actually you can get video.
Yeah, and you can do it online.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that helps us up in Northern Ontario than having to find these competitions to travel to, especially if we want to compete. So it's changed a bit in that way where there's a lot more, like you can video yourself doing whatever and submitting it. So in going from tricks, I want to go to parkour.
Parkour is fun.
Parkour, yes.
And I like that. I mean, at least for our dogs, we do it all seasons, right?
Yeah, we do.
So it's a class we run in the spring and summer.
Yeah.
And it's basically your dog is doing a dog version of parkour. So parkour, you think of people jumping up buildings and rebounding off of things.
Yeah.
So for dogs, it's basically about going on, over, under, through, around.
Around, yeah.
All those different, any obstacles.
So I think in doing more parkour, because Alfie insists we do it mostly on every walk. So Alfie's going to come up there at the end. I think we're going to show some pictures of him in the bush doing parkour. But it's also, they need trick training. Like they need to be able to balance. They need to want to put their feet on different objects, whether that's front feet, hind feet separate,
they
fore
need
feet.
Good body awareness.
Good body awareness, walk along different textures. Yeah. So, there, actually, if we go top right.
Oh, there's a parkour class.
Yep. So look at them. Oh, look at how. That's Blossom on the left. And then we got Maggie's on a skateboard. They worked hard at that last summer. And then Miss Maya, look, she's balancing on 2 logs.
Yeah, and what I love about parkour titles is, again, you can do it online.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the class, I don't think any of these people have decided to title, right? It's not a competitive class.
I don't know if we talk enough about it. We could, but I think it would be because we've had certain dogs and owners like continue and do it multiple times, where maybe we should bridge the conversation of...
Yeah, because with competition with parkour, there's different levels. There's like level 1 where you can put your feet on an object that's like elbow height or something. And
yeah, and it's...
You get more complicated.
The heights are based on also the dog's size. Yeah.
Yeah. So parkour, I think, is good because you can do it outside. It's good for reactive dogs. It's good for, you know, you're just working with yourself. You're not competing against someone else for that title.
Yeah, you're working with your dog.
Which is the same as the trick titles, which I also did with Stark. We got trick titles for doing a bunch of, they have like a big list, and you choose from novice and advanced and intermediate and whatever tricks. And you get a supervisor basically to sign off that you can do them. So now that a lot of that is by video as well.
Okay.
And I'm not competing against anybody else. I am
You're
just earning, I'm earning that title for myself. So I like that about some of these sports. Let's talk about scent work.
Right. So in when you had Kelsey on the podcast, she did talk about, because at the present time, she's our scent instructor, and she's definitely a scent junkie, right? Yeah. So you guys had chatted about it, and she had mentioned that there's sort of a competitive stream of scent work that you can do, but then we're trying to use, I don't want to say more for the pet dog, but just basically saying, using it for mental stimulation, using it again, with dogs in general, for owners just to have fun, look at something else to do, teach the dog a new skill. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, there it is there. So what he's doing is a little bit of a search.
And I love this video because the variety of breeds. You do not have to have, you know, a hound to do scent work. These are Great Danes. These are Mastiffs. These are...
Yeah. But the way that even, you know, dogs that have anxiety during walks or have issues around other dogs, if they're busy working and doing stuff, then there you go. So it's about giving them the confidence and teaching them something they can do anywhere, anytime. And it's huge to be able to direct to that. So like I said, Kelsey's done amazing things with the program, and she continues to offer different levels and build on that. So,
yeah, and there's different things that you can do with scent work too, like not to get into it too much, but there's like search and rescue training, there's tracking, there's like drug sniffing dogs out there. Like there's lots that you can do with scent work beyond just like, oh, I'm going to go to this competition. And for the competitions, just to talk about it a little bit, because some people are interested in it, is they have to learn, the scents are different from Canada and other places, but in Canada, they have to search through, I want to say, wintergreen, and there's a few different essential oils that they have to smell out. And so you introduce the dog to the scent, and you teach them how to discriminate that scent from another scent, which is like, it actually gets pretty complicated if you go into it, and then they mix the scents together and they have to find that combo, or, you know, there's all kinds of different ways that you can advance, I guess, or change what you're doing as far as scent work. There's also indoor courses, there's outdoor courses, right? Kelsey was running for us last summer. She did like a walking scent work or an outdoor. Yeah,
where she was setting stuff. And then she did do a little bit indoor, set stuff up indoor, and then she was setting stuff outdoor. But it's having, and a lot of people think, oh, well, that's not exercise.
Your dog's going to be more tired.
Yeah, because it's brain exercise. Yeah. It may not be, you know, super physical running back, but usually even with a lot of us, you know, that take a course, or if we've had a really hard day at work where we're constantly thinking and having to do a lot of things, multitasking, we go home mentally exhausted.
Yeah, and I think the other important thing, too, is that not all dogs are suited for really physical sports like agility or flyball or...
Yeah, and a lot of people focus on those, and it's not to say your dog can't do it. It's to say whether you're both enjoying it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the things Kelsey and I talked about was just learning to enjoy seeing your dog be happy and and doing that sport with them.
Absolutely.
Great for senior dogs, great for dogs of all sizes.
Yep.
So it's one of those things that I think you can definitely do a lot of different things with it. There's the barn hunt, like there's all different types
different
of
avenues to it. So, you know, with any of these sports, some people just like a little bit, so they have some mental stimulation exercises. Some people are hardcore and want to, you know, keep going, different levels, that sort of thing. So why don't we sort of left agility to the last. So it's a sport that Amelia and I have definitely competed in, been a part of, teach.
I would say it's the one dog sport I would think I'm most passionate about.
Yeah, okay.
The one that I enjoy the most, I think, and obviously the one that I teach the most because I'm teaching like
So
5
why
agility
would you
classes.
say you're most passionate about it?
I think the confidence building aspect when we're teaching it is so important, and it's a good way to build life skills outside of just doing all these obedience drills. So, for example, one thing I can talk about for sure is the start line stay. You can work on your dog's stay, which I'm saying you could. I'm not saying I have.
Oh, okay.
You could work on your dog's stay in the presence of this agility equipment, which they've learned is exciting and fun.
They want to be on it, interacting with it.
So it's stay with a really hard distraction.
Yeah.
Agility could be described as a giant recall with stuff in between, right? So you're having the dog sort of run with you.
Or like I was going to say, healing because they're moving with you. So why don't we, before, we're going to talk a little bit more about it, and then, you know, we have some pictures and so forth. Let's just clarify to people that maybe aren't sure as to what agility sort of involves. So let's go there.
So agility involves jumps, so jumping over bars, tunnels, going through like a
large tunnel that are anywhere from like 10 to 20 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going on objects, so going on the A-frame, which is like a 6 foot tall. It's literally shaped like an A. Piece of equipment. The dog walk, which is a long sort of almost like a balance beam.
Right.
The teeter, which is like a children's seesaw.
Yeah.
So, you know, they sort of go up one end and then come down.
I'm just going to interrupt for a sec. We have our banner up, and then we have Maui on the left doing jumps, Storm in the middle, then we have sticks on top. Elfie, Amelia didn't mention weave poles yet. That's a challenge because they literally have to turn their body sideways to go in and out. And then we have Nuggie at the bottom. She's actually on the A-frame there. So dog walk, I'm sorry. She went along the top of it, and now she's going on the decline.
Yeah. So it's about getting, first of all, a lot of focus from them, right? Because they need to be focused on what they're doing. Otherwise, it's not very safe. They need to have a lot of body awareness, especially the bigger dogs, if they're going to navigate these courses. They need to be able to listen to the cues that they're being given when they're in a really excited state.
So I would say that, I don't want to say the other sports aren't involved with owners, but just to clarify to people is you are out there running the course with the dog. So what happens first is we as the owner walk the course, so we know the direction we have to go. We're hoping we remember the direction we have to go, and we guide the dog over the direction and the number of obstacles in a row. So we're there having them, we're guiding them. They're completing the obstacles, but we're out there with them, making sure that they take them in a certain order.
Yeah, so the course is numbered. So I believe we do have a video that we want you to commentate on.
So a few of us did go to an agility trial. Here's Miss Amelia with Nuggie. So we noticed, so she just did a beautiful cross. Here's another tunnel Nuggie did. She goes wide. Look at the send, and she comes back. Another send to the tunnel. Look, another cross. So we call that a blind cross when the dog's behind Amelia. Okay. The jumps are a certain height because look at how little Nuggie is. Okay.
Yeah,
and
so the jumps are dependent on
the size. But you'll see how Amelia pushes her hand up. So she's asking Nuggie to actually take that jump, and look at her go.
And I was very happy.
She was very happy.
That was one of my favorite runs.
Well, I think it was, I don't want to say it was your best run.
It probably was.
It probably was there. But so you notice that Nuggie is following her direction the whole time. She was pretty hardcore on this one, I would have to say.
She does love tunnels.
Yeah. And then I think this was what, a jumpers course?
This was speed stakes.
Speed stakes, okay.
So speed stakes is just jumps and tunnels.
Okay. So all the different agility organizations sort of have their own games or different names of when you do obstacles in a row. So this was
UKI.
Thank you. It was UKI. So we went there and it was definitely challenging.
It was.
It was definitely challenging. I don't want to say the crosses we had to do. And when I say have to do, it's because ideally we want to be able to, the reason we cross from one side of the dog to the other is to make sure, I'm still watching the video here, is just to make sure we're guiding our dog efficiently.
Yeah, and so when you say crosses, you mean I'm switching her from, say, my left hand to my right hand.
Your left
and
to your
I
right
want to
side.
make sure that I'm closer to whatever that next obstacle is going to be.
Yeah.
So that I'm there, when she gets there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time when we're doing agility, people think that the dog is either just like running around doing their own thing or, that it's just going to be a bunch of jumps in a straight line. And there's so much more that we can
or
do with it.
I think a lot of times people just think they have to touch the obstacle. Like this one, we just said there's jumps or tunnels. This one doesn't have like the A-frame or the dog walk in it. But, they'll just lure them up and say, oh, here we go. They'll just lure them up and say, oh, they've done it. But the dog wants to enjoy the experience. So there's the A-frame.
This was a Halloween-themed fun run, so there's a little bit of weird stuff going on here.
I want to see if she can do the weaves. Look at her go. Look at her. Look at it. Nice.
Yeah, I give her a cookie because it's not a competition, so I can have treats.
So this is like a training run is what Amelia is saying.
And I have my hair done up in
I was wondering about your hair,
buns.
but I was going to let that one go.
It's Halloween.
Okay. Yeah, I was a titch concerned that day you were doing something funky there. But.
Anyway, so as far as dog sports go, obviously there's lots of different options. There's not just one sport
so I think
everybody.
there's honestly something for everybody or every dog. And I don't want to, discriminate and say, to people that they might not be good at agility because their size or something. And I don't believe that at all because, me doing agility with a bull mastiff and then, a chihuahua, like why not? But is the dog enjoying it?
Yeah.
That's what I like to say is anytime, we spend time training something, we always want it to be a joint effort.
Yeah. And if your dog in training, right, is not having a good time and you're having to force your dog to do something, maybe that's not the sport for them. Like if I had to pick up Nuggie and put her on equipment, then that's not fun, right? I knew when I got Nuggie that I wanted to do agility and I started her really young on different textures and working with levels of excitement, playing tug and stuff like that. So I knew that going in and I prepared for that. Mm-hmm. But if you get a dog and you're just saying, hey, I want to try, maybe I want to try parkour and your dog just doesn't want to do it, right? We're not going to force them to do it. It should be something that's fun for the dog and the owner.
But again, we're just basically saying there's options.
There's options and there's so much more to training your dog than just sit and down and heel.
Yeah.
You can do lots of things. You can have lots of fun with them. And you meet a whole community of dog people when you do it.
Yeah. Like definitely meeting different people. We've even done that through classes. We meet lots of new people on a regular basis, but we get to know the ones, that continue to take classes or go into specialty and stuff. So, it's always fun to ask the question, as to why you're doing this sort of thing. So, again, just to summarize what we went through, I think we're going to have a little video here of the different sports. I'll just wait. Okay, here we go. So we do have a senior enrichment course, which is senior dogs, physical fitness, which
There's my boy.
Yeah, but I would say we have that in all classes.
Yes.
Right? There's the trick training with Miss Tulip. Little show off there. This is a great, again, mental stimulation for any age. Brain games, we're adding that everywhere, right? I think not enough mental stimulation. You can buy games, you can get creative.
This is Rally.
Okay, perfect. Because the signs, right?
Yeah. So I think she was actually done the course at that point. But there's Scent, right? So there's lots of different things that you can do. And although this is an ad for a senior class, right, because it's a little bit modified, these are all things that dogs can do at any age.
Yeah. And any type of sport involves all this.
All this.
The video we just looked at. So it involves mental stimulation. It involves
Yes.
some type of physical activity. It involves, us working together,
Yeah,
right?
engaging
And
with
even
the
in
dog.
agility, we do trick training as warm-ups. Like it sort of builds on top of one another because we have a few clients that have done 3 or 4 sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's Mr. Maui doing his jump. He had the best time.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
all from the agility trial, and we had a few.
And Alfie's a little bit possessed with the weaves, but I think he was yelling at me at that time.
He was, and there was
Yeah.
another picture of him actually barking at you, which was
Yeah.
quite fun.
Yeah.
I didn't buy that one.
Yeah. But I just never thought he could run that fast and bark at me at the same time, but apparently he can do it. Styx was jumping 20 there, eh?
I believe so, yeah. So
Yeah.
they jump dependent on their height. So
Right.
This was 20 inches for a
And they
taller
measure them at the withers,
dog.
which is
Shoulders.
the shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for sticking with us through this dog sport episode.
Yeah.
Something obviously we really enjoy talking about, and a nice little change from some of the behavior topics, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
little bit more light and a little bit more fun. If you're interested in any of these sports, if you want to know anything more about them, please feel free to get in touch. We have scent work, we have agility that we teach, so we have classes for that. But we're happy to chat about.
And then also on our Instagram, right? Because some of this footage was on our Instagram page.
Yes, all this is on our Instagram
Okay,
page.
perfect. So check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.